Welcome to a loaded. What I mean by loaded is a lot of folks here tonight. Loaded episode of Pound for Pound Boxing Report, episode 113. I'm your host, Michael. Joining me this week, a lot of folks: EJ Boxing Live, Gail Falcathalu, Community Digital News, Jay Dill, Daniel Carpio, Francis and Joe from 4 Boxing News, Jacob, Sean, and new to the show, Antoine Carney. Real Talk, who's all over the YTBC. Am I forgetting anybody? Am I forgetting anybody? No, I'm not. For those who are new to Pound for Pound Boxing Report, Pound for Pound Boxing Report is a live YouTube show /blog/podcast that discusses all things boxing. Motto is, when boxing is good, we will talk about it. When boxing is bad, we will talk about it. Bottom line is, if it concerns boxing, we will talk about it. If you want to find information about Pound for Pound Boxing Report, one main place you want to go to, that's the blog page, p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com is the link. You go to the right of the blog page, you will find links to find us all over the internet, all over the interwebs, all over social media, Facebook, YouTube, G+, Tumblr, Twitter, the Pinterest board, the RSS feed if you want to subscribe there. Link to find us on Stitcher Radio, links to find us on Flipboard Magazine, the email address, which is p4pboxingrpt@gmail.com, as well as links to find us on SoundCloud and iTunes. We're new to SoundCloud and iTunes, so please leave a review there. Tell us what we're doing good with the show and what we can improve with the show. And lastly, for the old episodes, we still got the Podomatic link up there, so you can check us out there as well if you want to listen to old episodes. Let's get the show started tonight, ladies and gents. I recapped what happened last week. Main fight, of course, is the rematch between Sergey Kovalev. Jean Pascal took place last Saturday in Montreal. Kovalev scored a dominant 7th-round stoppage over Pascal. Pascal's Freddie Roach, his cornerman, decided enough was enough. I'm going to divvy up the time here. I'm just going to go to some specific quotes and they can talk about it. Since we got, I'll go to ladies first. I'll go with Gail, and since we got some new folks, I'll go to Antoine. Real Talk, you can follow up as well. Just simply your thoughts on the fight and what went down. Comments before the bout, the controversy what Pascal brought up before the bout, and as well as Kovalev basically saying he let the fight go longer than it should because he wanted to punish Jean Pascal because of the pre-fight hype, what he said.
All true, all very apparent to the viewer. I'm a little surprised Freddie Roach didn't put his foot down a bit harder and stop that fight a round sooner, but he gave Pascal one more round. Wasn't necessary. It proved nothing. Sometimes the trainer has got to be the boss and say no mas for the fighter. They kind of let Pascal twist his arm and give him one more round. Didn't make a difference. Pascal was absolutely ineffective. He was far worse performance than their first fight, which was a shame. I think whatever lessons he thought he was going to learn from Freddie Roach, he just simply didn't have enough time to absorb, or he's just been, too long in the saddle with Mark Ramsey. And, those old habits die hard. It's hard to undo and relearn at that stage of your career. So it was a beatdown, and so I don't think we learned a whole lot more about Jean Pascal. But what we did have confirmed for us is that Sergey Kovalev has one hell of a mean streak, and he put it to use in the ring. That was a vicious, vicious beatdown. When you're perfectly capable of ending the fight and you choose not to inflict more damage, that is one seriously dangerous human being. And, it was right on the edge of too much. But, he was careful. He was fairly careful about it, which should scare people even more, that he has that much command of a fight, that much command in the ring. Should Kovalev face Andre Ward and beat him, there is no question he is at the top of the boxing food chain.
I'll go to you, Antoine, and then Real Talk, and then you can follow up, Francis and Joe. First, your analysis of the fight, but I want to ask you a question. Last week we talked about Jean Pascal in the pre-fight build-up, basically rehashing, bringing back up the infamous incident by Kovalev in which response to failed negotiations for a fight with Adonis Stevenson. He did that shirt in which he depicted Stevenson as a gorilla next to a child. talk about the fight itself and talk about that aspect coming into the fight. Did you think it was fair of Pascal to do so? Was it unfair? Did you like it, not like it? Your thoughts as well as your assessment of what went down. First, Antoine, then Real Talk, and then you can follow up Francis and Joe.
All right. Well, first off, me personally, I didn't think there was no need for a second fight because Kovalev was so dominant in the first fight. So that being said, and then the fact that he switched up trainers and went to Freddie Roach, that did absolutely nothing for him because Roach to me is more of an offensive coordinator than a complete trainer. So he doesn't teach defense. So Pascal needed defense more than anything, and Freddie Roach is the wrong guy to get if that's what you're looking for. So I agree, he was ineffective the whole fight. The fight shouldn't have went 8 rounds. He should have stopped at least a couple rounds sooner because of what was going on. As far as what Pascal did in the pre-fight build-up, I didn't think that it was totally warranted. I believe that Pascal should have let sleeping dogs lie. I knew what he was trying to do. What's that?
Go ahead.
Why? I knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to get the people on his side and everything like that, or try to get some people behind him, or something to stir him on. But that this is the hurt business. So I totally understand what Kovalev was trying to do, and I mean, hey, it's 2 men in the ring. Pascal knew exactly what he was doing and why he was hyping his fight up. So he got what was coming to him. So,
Real Talk, and then Francis and Joe. Can't hear you. We can't hear you, Real Talk. I'm sorry, we can't hear you. You got your mic muted right now. Try speaking now. Yeah, we can't hear you right now. Even when your mic is unmuted, we can't hear you. So I'm gonna go to Francis and Joe. So until you get your technical issues fixed. My question to Antoine was analysis of the fight itself, as well as your thoughts on what Pascal did prior to the fight, bringing up the incident with Kovalev in the T-shirt, which, at best, to be kind, were racially insensitive and offensive. So your thoughts on the fight itself, as well as what Pascal was doing prior to the fight.
Well, Pascal's actions, I didn't like it. I really don't. I don't think that's a good way to hype a fight. I guess, why he was trying to do it. I just didn't like it, and I don't think it's a good way to try to bring attention to a fight. And then as far as the actual fight, I thought Kovalev looked real good. The guy's a destroyer. He just pretty much dominated Pascal from start to finish. Kovalev's a scary dude, and he's, I think, like Gail said, he's on top of the food chain right now.
Yes, I thought that Pascal's comments prior in the pre-fight interview were unwarranted. I didn't think they were necessary at all. I don't think bringing up racial comments is a great way to publicize a fight. In terms of the fight itself, I thought that both opponents came into the fight very careful. They did a great job maintaining distance from the sound of the bell into round 1. I was really impressed with how Kovalev maintained his distance. He landed a lot of jabs to the body, a lot of straight punches to the head, so that was very impressive. Pascal, I thought, shined in round 3, ending that round with some really good combinations. Unfortunately, he had no other answers from round 4 to 7, and he got his ass handed to him. And that's basically how it went down. And in total, I think Pascal only landed 30 punches out of 100 punches. So he landed 28% of his punches, whereas Kovalev landed 40% of his punches. Kovalev, to me, shined in the fight. Hats off to Kovalev.
Let's see if I can bring Real Talk back into this. How much you mic now? See if you can say something. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay.
Speak on the question I was asking Antoine and Joe and Francis.
Rephrase that question again.
The question is not only give you an analysis of what went down the fight itself, but since you're new to the show, your thoughts on what Pascal was doing prior to the fight, basically rehashing the incident with Kovalev and the T-shirt, which were offensive to many.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that was the only way that he could sell the rematch, right? Initially, when I heard the announcement of the rematch, I wasn't that thrilled initially. My response was just like, but as it went on, then I was kind of like, okay, I'd rather see Kovalev fight someone else, but at the same time, the first fight, I gotta admit, was exciting, and I think that's what people they're always talking about, all the politics in boxing, but at the end of the day, we want to see exciting fights. This is why fighters like Kovalev, Triple G, and these type of fighters that bring these entertaining fights. This is why they sell tickets. I mean, Canelo's he's a exciting fighter as well. And there's some drama, there's some diva, involved, some politics, drama, and stuff involved in the build up to these fights. But at the end of the day, I think it was an entertaining fight between him and Pascal the first time. So it brings the drama, it brings the intriguement and the interest in the fight. So yeah, it was Kovalev. He'd done in the build up to the second fight. It was can Kovalev knock this guy out unconscious? That's what I was thinking. Like, what can he do better than he did in the first fight? And with Freddie Roach, what could he do to help Pascal perform better? So it was a good fight, but at the end of the day, he's a good fighter, but I think it's at this point, I think it's time for him to start looking at maybe retiring or something.
I'm going to follow up on that and just open it up for Dill, Daniel, Jacob, Sean. Give your thoughts on the fight, and let's talk about the future. Let's talk about the future for Pascal. He lost the first time with his original corner. He brought Roach in, actually the wrong trainer for him, because he wasn't going to give Pascal the tools to beat Kovalev. I thought he wasn't going to beat Kovalev regardless, but he's got beat up twice in a row. In the interim, he fought a fight in which many people thought he lost. Didn't look good in that fight. So your analysis of the fight, Dill, Daniel, Jacob, Sean, and as well as the future for Jean Pascal, what do you see from him?
Well, Pascal looked like he looked like no poo poo in that fight, man. He got a little boost during the whole fight, man. He got shut up, man. He's like the panda right now. All mutant. He got all mutants in this fight, man. It was just not look. And Kovalev played with him with fainting with the jab and landing that wing. And that jab looked like he was just backing him up, hurting him. I counted that as a knockdown. We landed that jab on Pascal in the early system. But either way, I'm just going to get to the point about your question, Mike. I think Pascal needs to retire because his reflexes are a bit slower. He's with Shane Mosley around 2010. With Sergio Martinez. I mean, not Sergio Martinez, but Sergio Moore have a draw. He lost that fight. And after that, just a decline. Well, that's what Pascal looks like right now. Just a decline in the form of himself. And I think that first Kovalev fight took a lot of his moves out of him. And I don't think he's the same fighter or will be the same fighter anymore. And it just showed with his reflexes. But Kovalev showed why he's the man in the division, and Stevenson needs to step up and try to take that fight. And Ward, I want to see what March 26th is going to do. I want to see how fresh and sharp Andre Ward is. Kovalev got my attention after that performance, and that's all I can say.
We're going to talk about the future of Kovalev shortly, but I'm going to go to Daniel, Jacob, and then Sean. what you saw in the fight itself and in the future of Jean Pascal.
What you basically saw was in less than a year, one man literally beat the fighting spirit out of another man. Because you saw from round 3 on in this fight, Pascal did not want to be there. Not want to be there at all. He only landed 30 punches, compared to Kovalev landed 165, a 6-to-1 ratio. And on top of that, in the 5th round, the fight should have been stopped technically in the 5th round, because that was a 10-8 round of the way he was beating the crap out of Pascal. Because Pascal didn't have anything. All Pascal, I think, hoped in this fight, as particularly we're jumping into the first, was to get Kovalev so mad that he would get bum rush into a left hook. Instead, Kovalev just decided to take him apart coldly. As far as his future goes, I debated this. He could literally go the Nonito Donaire route and try to get a couple of cheap fights in Quebec, try to build his name back up and try to get an ancillary title. But I think I agree with almost everybody here. He should retire. You can tell his spirit was beaten down by Kovalev. I don't think you can recover from something like that, where you literally had one man literally beat the fight out of you.
Jacob, Sean, unmute your mic, please, fellas. Go ahead.
So we're just talking about Pascal and what he should do?
Yeah, as well as your overall assessment of the rematch.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much been discussed already. I mean, majority of people weren't really excited about this fight. They used race to sort of market it and sell it, and the result ended up like everybody sort of predicted. I mean, only EJ actually thought that Pascal was going to win the fight. Everybody else pretty much knew Kovalev was going to do it easier than he had done it the first time. And it worked out exactly the way everyone expected. I mean, it is what it is. It was a good payday for Kovalev. It's a stay-busy fight, and it's working towards an Andre Ward fight at the end of the year. So, I mean, you can't really be too critical of it because, I mean, at least he's getting in the ring and he's doing what he needs to do. And he needed this opponent so that he get paid what he thinks he's worth. So, you know, I can't hate on it. I think it was a justified fight and worked out sort of the way we expected. And, you know, look forward to where they go from here.
Before we go on, because I'm going to open it up, I got EJ Boxing Live was here. He had to dip out. I got Warbo response, made the boat, Pascal, we're going to left. I got to do it. Here's my response. Since he loves to talk about me using that one on him, but necessarily, I had to do it for him. But yeah, I'm gonna open it up to everybody here. The future of Sergey Kovalev. The fight that everybody talk about is Andre Ward, which is basically set for November this year. But in the interview after the fight, they asked him, and everybody mute their mic because I'm getting some echo. Mute your mic, Sean. Thank you. After the fight in the ring with Max Kellerman, they asked Kovalev what he wants to do, and Kovalev's response was he wants to unify the belt, starting with Adonis Stevenson, I think he called him. Stevenson responded to that, jumped into the ring, yelling, "I'm the champ! I'm the champ! I'm the champ!" So the fight for the future for Sergey Kovalev. We know Ward is happening, but do any of you guys think we will see Sergey Kovalev, Adonis Stevenson in the interim? And I'm just going to open it up for everybody here. Unmute your mic, please, everybody.
No.
Nah, not at all.
No.
At least give an explanation, y'all. Come on.
What explanation is necessary? We know what the damned explanation is. I think we can move along.
Anybody else want to chime in?
I want to see the fight just to see Stevenson shut up. But unfortunately, there's too much behind the scenes for it to make it work at the moment on both sides. Like I said, on Stevenson's side with Heyman and Jean Michel, and on Kovalev's side with Kathy Duva, there's just too much where it can be done.
I have a feeling that the fight, that Stevenson will fight someone and actually lose before he gets the shot to fight Kovalev.
Oh. Yeah, but who? That's the whole thing.
I could see him losing to like a Farah if they were to rematch.
Bingo.
Rematch?
Farah rematch, and he's going to lose. Yeah.
I was thinking of BF myself.
Yeah, that's another guy that has a potential to beat him. I mean, I think Stevenson has never been, he has a wicked punch, but I mean, other than that, I don't really see too much from him. That I don't see many people picking him to beat Kovalev. The thing with Kovalev is that he tries to stay active, and so they just keep on putting bodies in front of him. And if the fight was going to be made, it would have been made already. And I just think it's just getting drawn out, and it's probably not going to happen. But I could see Stevenson, taking a fight and, getting hurt or dropped and maybe even knocked out, and then that fight's not as attractive anymore.
Right.
Kovalev will probably have a fight in Russia before he comes back to fight Ward with opponent TDA, and the truth is it won't really matter who it is. This is a little victory lap fight in Russia. It'll be a big prestige fight there, and they'll keep him busy at least.
Dale, Joe, and Francis, Real Talk, Sean, chime in. I'm going to go to you first, Dale, because I know last week one of the things that you demanded really was that Stevenson, after the fight, come in and challenge Kovalev. He did that. I want your response to that. Did you like it? Would you think it was a bitch move on his part? Your thoughts?
I think Adonis Stevenson is scared of Sergey Kovalev. I just look at his body language. I look at how he played the first time by hiring out leaving HBO, and then the bid war excuse. But what about now? The Haitian brother got beaten the living shit out of twice by this man, and he used the angle that was attacked towards you to sell this fight. I mean, what you gonna do, man? Do you want to be undisputed because you're 38, 39 years old? You ain't got too much life in you in this division. And the guys like Ward is coming in this division. So, it ain't too much time you got to worry holding that strap. So, take on the man or just leave the title and let Kovalev grab that and let Andre take him for the undisputed title, the battle of the undefeated and undisputed. And that's how that should go.
Francis, Joe, Real Talk, Sean, your thoughts on this?
Well, I like Kovalev calling Stevenson Chickenson. I thought that was a pretty good line. And actually, I like Stevenson getting in the ring and yelling, "I'm the champ." I thought it was pretty good. It would be great if it actually led to a fight. The problem is I don't think it's going to. I think it's just them going to talk forever, and they're never going to get in the ring to settle it out. So, just boxing politics is what it is, and I just don't see those two ever getting in the ring to fight.
What do you guys think of a Pascal Stevenson fight?
He was technically Stevenson's mandatory for a bit. And look how that happened.
The one thing I will say for Pascal, he will always be able to fill an arena in Montreal. So he still has youthfulness, put it that way. Because his fans will come out to see him. Pascal Stevenson, it seems like sort of a by default kind of fight, but staged in Montreal, it would certainly be a viable fight from a money standpoint.
Let's bring Real Talk and Sean into this. Your thoughts on this, on my question that's on the table. Will we ever see an Adonis Stevenson Sergey Kovalev fight?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. because when as far as that entrance in the ring after the Pascal fight, to me, I don't even pay that no attention, because until you can get past the Al Heyman situation, none of that don't mean nothing. I mean, I don't even want to waste. I don't even want to get my hopes up. And there's always people saying that Al Heyman does this with PBC and he does that, but there's always. I mean, promoters are promoters, and when you're an intelligent promoter, or he's not really a promoter, but that's what he's doing, really. I mean, the fans are not going to always, most of the time, are not going to get the fights that they want to see, So until we get that situation dealt with, I mean, don't even get your hopes up. I mean, so.
Basically, Sean, unmute your mic, Sean.
Hi. I won't hold anything against either fighter. I mean, you can see both of them are making an effort to promote the fight, to build it, to sort of get it out there. I mean, they were in another event earlier in the year, and they both were talking and being interviewed, and they made it seem as if a July date was something that possibly could happen. And then you see since then, I mean, Duva's made a great offer. Like even Pascal's manager, promoter from Quebec, or not Pascal, Stevenson's promoter, said that it was a very good offer, very fair. The biggest stumbling block still seems to be Heyman with HBO, which, is a shame, because Stevenson is going to get the fight in his hometown. He's going to probably get the largest percentage of the purse. So him going to fight on HBO seems like the least he can do to make the fight happen. But as far as both of these guys, I think they both want the fight. They both see that it's something that they should do, and they want to do it. So obviously it's promotional network sort of situations that we're so used to that's sort of the roadblock.
I'm going to go back to you, Sean, and then open it up to everybody else. HBO in the ring was basically bypassing the Stevenson bout. I don't think Mike Kellerman was totally honest about the reason that Stevenson and Kovalev was happening, but that's neither here nor there. They're hyping Kovalev Ward already. We will talk about this with great detail the closer the fight gets here, but a little bit of talk about it now, and I'm going to just open it up for everybody. Kovalev, Stevenson, your thoughts, quickly.
Kovalev Stevenson.
I mean Kovalev Ward. I'm sorry, Kovalev Ward.
Hey, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's who most people consider the best fighter in the world, Andre Ward. If he was active, I mean, consensus-wise, he'd be #1 pound for pound. But because he hasn't been active, there's still questions, which makes the fight that much more interesting, because we're not sure exactly what kind of form is he in, how is he going to react at a 175-pound weight against Kovalev, who continuously is starting to show us that he's one of the top guys in the game. So, it's a huge fight, and I mean, for both of them, it basically solidifies who is the best fighter in the world, really, until, a bigger matchup happens. But, I mean, at this point, it's a great fight. Everybody's excited about it. The only drawback is that because Ward's been inactive, it doesn't have the casual boxing fan hype behind it. I mean, only hardcores really are all over it. And Kovalev is not really a guy who sells, hence the reason why he keeps going to Quebec, because that's where he gets paid. If he fights in the States, his events aren't really that marketable and that attractive. Which,
he's not Triple G.
Yeah, and that says a lot about the American audience. I mean, it's a shame because, boxing fans should grasp boxing and not be so fucking particular. Because you look at the UK and their events, and they're huge, and the crowds are crazy, and it's really a sight to behold. And then you look at events with great fighters in the US, and, it always seems to be political, race, and everything else that's stopping things from sort of reaching their true potential, which hurts boxing. I mean, regardless of if you like a guy or not, if he's considered one of the best fighters in the world and an exciting fighter, what's wrong? Like, why don't you want to see that fight? Why aren't you excited to see Kovalev in the ring? like against anyone, because regardless, he's going to be kicking the shit out of guys. It's going to be entertaining. You know, he is an exciting fighter, regardless of how you put it. Whether he's in with Ward's, very high-level guys, Stevenson's, you know, both powerful guys who have questionable chins, or, you know, Pascal's, guys that are sort of past their prime but have a good name. It's a good fight, it's entertaining, and it's good for boxing. So.
You're right. I will say as a small side order, for me, Kovalev in the ring, outstanding fighter. Outstanding. But at the same time, it's just for me, that incident, I just can't let that totally go. You're ultimately right at the end of the day. It ultimately means the fighter is a great fighter, but there's always going to be an issue for me whenever I see him fight because of that and the complicity in his response. But we're going to move on from that. That's another topic for another show.
Sonny Liston, other guys, you know, they also were bastards and assholes, but, you know, because they were monsters, people still wanted to see them get beat, but nonetheless, still wanted to see them.
I'm just saying, Liston didn't do what Kovalev did with that shirt. That's the difference for me. He didn't do that. He just didn't. And that's just the fact. He didn't do that.
No, but all he did for Frazier consistently.
And that's always the biggest asterisk of my career when it comes to Ali, because that was wrong, and that was mean, and that was unfair on his part. So as much as I love Ali, I have to throw that in there too. I'm just being consistent there.
But what you have seen, and going back to the last pre-fight news conference, what you did see as a result of all the nastiness that had gone on between the two, Haitians and Kovalev, is that when Pascal decided to get in his face and pull the bananas out and go after John David Jackson, Kovalev held his tongue. He did not engage. There is absolutely nothing that man could say. And I don't know whether someone talked to him ahead of time, as they should have, and said, don't engage, don't go after him, don't say shit about it, don't respond, don't take the bait, nothing. And to his credit, he didn't, because he couldn't. It shut him down, rightfully so. Even when Stevenson got into the ring, I do think that one thing Kovalev did was very smart. He did not verbally engage him after he made the insult about Chickenson, which he said numerous times in the post-fight news conference, and that's the kind of stuff that sticks. I mean, that sticks. And that's fair. That is fair game. That's strictly about boxing performance. Otherwise, he did not take the bait, and really his only response in the ring was he gave him the finger, which, of course, now every time we see the video in the U.S., it's blocked, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
That has constrained what he can say, you know, and he's not going to be able to go there. He can't even start to go there. Kathy Duva and John David Jackson are going to have to shut him down from that stuff from here on out.
Exactly. So I'm going to go around here. I just had to get that in there because that's just my own personal issue with Kovalev. But to the prospect of a Kovalev-Andre Ward fight, I'm just going to go around here, and anybody can chime in. Your initial thoughts on Sergey Kovalev-Andre Ward. How high do you hold it up in terms of biggest boxing fights out here, particularly post Mayweather-Pacquiao? Anybody can chime in. I'll mute your mics, everybody.
To me, it's a true 50-50 fight. I think I really can't pick a winner this far away from the fight. Normally, I already have it in my mind who's going to win. But like I said, it's a 50-50 fight, and I truly believe that this actually should be the biggest fight this year, especially if nothing is going on in the heavyweight division as far as unification is concerned. This should be the biggest fight this year.
It will be among the biggest fights. It'll be right up there with Fury-Klitschko, especially if Fury beats Klitschko again. That is going to be an earthquake in boxing if that happens. If we get a Triple G Canelo fight, but it'll be interesting in the wake of the Khan fight to see how that shakes out. And, of course, we want to see Chocolatito fight somebody at his level. Really. Other than that, you know, those are the top fights we want to see. Absolutely.
And Estrada, too. You're right, Sean. Daniel Francis and Joe, Jacob, Dill, your initial thoughts on a Kovalev-Ward fight?
I want to agree it is 50-50 because it's a very interesting fight. Kovalev, people are starting to notice it now. He's a lot more technical than people like to give him credit for. They just say, oh, he just knocks people out. But if you notice, he has good range, he has good discipline with his punches, he has good targeting. However, when it comes to Ward, Ward has not lost since he was, I think, 12, both in the amateurs and pros. He's remarkably skilled. He did a surgery on his shoulder, but apparently he's been fighting one arm for a good portion of his career. Now that he had the surgery on his shoulder, he actually can use, I think, his left shoulder now. It's going to be an interesting fight. It should be one of the top-tier fights because, number one, let's get a little bit jingoistic here, unfortunately. It is USA versus Russia. And we're in a bit of a presidential year in the political climate that we're getting back into a little bit of isolationism. So this could be a really, really good fight on that sense.
And given how Donald Trump is running his mouth against Russia, running for president, yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
It's actually one of the reasons why Kovalev isn't as popular here. There's still this bias against Eastern European fighters, particularly Russian fighters, that it still sticks with the American psyche that, oh, we're not going to like them because we remember their country as they're Soviets. They were commies. So it's one of the reasons why Kovalev probably hasn't sold us much. But it should be like one of the top tier fights. People mention like other fights like Canelo Triple G, if that happens. If we do get a heavyweight unification fight, because Deontay Wilder wants that fight, maybe we might get Wilder Fury. Or maybe Wilder Joshua. You never know, because Joshua's making moves right now. But it should be among the top fights this year. It's on you, Joe.
Yeah, I think Kovalev Ward is going to be fantastic. To me, probably one of the top 3 fights of the year. And if anyone is going to be able to beat Kovalev, I think it's going to be somebody like Ward, who's got really good technical skills, really good defense. And I think it would be a good test for Kovalev to find out how good he is, because he makes beating people look so easy.
Yes, definitely. I can't wait for them to make this fight happen because Andre Ward, he has impeccable distance control. That's the one thing I like about Andre Ward. He is great at using his jab to measure his distance and then coming in with those power punches. In addition to that, I think, he's going to try to hold Kovalev in the inside and not allow him to land any powerful punches in the inside as well. But if anyone's going to beat Kovalev, it's definitely the biggest shot. It goes to Andre Ward. That's for sure.
And another thing we gotta see too is how well will Ward adjust to 175 also, because I mean, even though competed at light heavyweight in the Olympics, he's still been competing at 168. So he still has to adjust to 175. So and I think that Sullivan Barrera fight is a great barometer to see how well he adjusts to the light heavyweight division. So
Barrera's trained by Abel Sanchez too, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good barometer right there to look at. Okay, this is the technician, the coaching I'm about to see in Kovalev with Sullivan Barrera. So it's actually a good scouting fight for Ward, and it's a good scouting fight for his team to see what the other corners like.
Yeah. Yeah, Abel Sanchez, as we all know, is a very offense-minded trainer. He says very openly that in many ways he's a fan first, trainer second. So he's going to want Barrera to bring it.
I still have doubts that this fight is going to happen this year. Again, I think the last time Ward fought 3 times in 1 year was in 2009. He was supposed to be on the undercard of Cotto Canelo, and he pulled out for an injury. And so now he supposedly has this Barrera fight set up, but I think it's a tough, that's a tough road to squeeze in 2 other fights and then be able to have that fight at the end of the year. And I also think that that Barrera fight is a good barometer, but if that fight doesn't actually get made, and he needs to fight tough guys to be able to be ready for Kovalev, because Kovalev is a mean motherfucker.
I'm gonna open up a mic here. Open up your mic, Dill, and Real Talk. I want your thoughts on this. Initial thoughts on Ward and Kovalev fighting.
Man, don't forget who the Son of God is, man. Have no fear on that man. That man's a dog. That when he's in that ring, he's a mean motherfucker.
Yes.
He got dog in him, and he finds a way to win. If you think it's gonna be smooth selling and spacey for Kovalev in that fight, he gonna take away his spacing. Even though Kovalev is a good short space puncher, Ward is gonna make it where he has no rhythm, no locations, and that athleticism and movement is gonna bother him, and he's gonna make Kovalev reset, and that jab is gonna be getting on Kovalev's nerves. Now, yes.
Excuse me for interrupting. It was that meanness and that dog that helped him beat both Kessler and Front, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, people talking about size, but I don't think size has something to do with this. Kovalev's footwork is flawed. Kovalev does telegraph his offense, especially when he goes for the hook and throws the right hand. So he's still a little stiff right there. And I get it that we got to see what Andre Ward does March 26th, but he fought guys like Barrera and amateurs. So this ain't a style that he wouldn't be accustomed to. Is it going to be about how sharp he is, how his display is, and if he's dominant like he was against Rodriguez and Paul Smith, what is there to complain about? And my next fight I would like to see him prepare for before Kovalev is Alvarez. If he could fight Barrera and Alvarez, and he could dominate both fights, everybody gonna say, "Oh, Andre Ward and Kovalev is the mega fight of 2016." And that's all I gotta say.
Real Talk.
Yeah, I used to lean towards I think it's a 50-50 fight, but I'm actually leaning towards Kovalev at this point. Obviously, he has to get through Barrera, and I think that's a tough fight. So that will be a gauge on, and I may change my opinion based on seeing how he does at 175 with Barrera. But right now, him being inactive and honestly, I mean, there's some flaws in Kovalev as far as his footwork. I'm just gonna say he's not like Triple G. Okay, as far as being balanced, like he has decent balance, but it ain't on that level. But the thing I like about Kovalev is he's able to somehow, twist his upper body. Like even when his feet are out of position, he's able to sort of pivot at the waist and change direction with his upper body, and still put his body in position to hit with power. And a lot of times the dude's feet ain't even in position, and he's knocking guys down. And I'm like, that's some straight power. But somehow he's able to turn his upper body with his feet out of position or slightly not in the best position and still land, with good power. So another thing is Ward's not going to be able to come in there with that old bullshit like he usually does, with these smaller guys, guys that are his height and, guys that are smaller, coming there mugging and stuff. Kovalev's really good at picking, keeping you at the distance, fighting you from a range. And if you try to come in on him, he's going to make you pay. He's not just like one of these guys that's nonchalant that's going to let you come in and then worry about it later. Like he understands parameters, he understands controlling distance, and he understands is preventative. The best way to fight someone like Ward is to make sure that he doesn't get into position that he, don't allow Ward to get into positions that he wants to get in. And so Kovalev is a very intelligent fighter. He may not have the best footwork and the best balance. I think he's got good footwork. I think his balance, he's not so much coordinated. You know what I mean? Like super coordinated, like a athletically gifted guy. But his fundamentals are great. And he's got a very good ring IQ. Other than that, I just think that Ward has been laid off. So I got to see what he does against Barrera. I like the fight. And people they're bigging up Ward already. Ward hasn't done nothing but basically pull out of fights. pull out of his last fight, and everybody gives Ward credit for signing this deal before he even does it. But they're counting their chickens. You know what I mean? And it's like they shit all over Triple G every time somebody, Triple G can't get a fight, they shit on him. But Ward can sign something in advance and not even happen yet, and he's already getting all this credit. So.
Well, to be fair,
Travis, I was
going to say, to be fair.
No.
Go ahead.
Let me say this, Travis. Ward is an Olympic gold medalist. Ward dominated a division. Ward beat the best people in the division around his time. Whether they wanted to duck him or not, they had to fight him, and he dominated them.
And to be fair, he signed the fight what many argue is the most dangerous guy in the division. And we just talked about Adonis Stevenson not wanting to fight this guy, so you have to give him credit just for that alone.
Yeah, but he ain't done it yet. He pulled out of his last fight. How do you guys know? I mean. But the point is, he has at least assigned to make the fight. I don't have no.
I agree, though. You can't credit a guy just because he signs to fight a guy. We got to see it in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with. But it's like the same YouTubers and the same people who are bigging up Ward or they're shitting on Triple G. So all I'm saying is like that's fine if you're gonna big up Ward for doing this and he hasn't done it yet. But shitting on Triple G, I mean that's a whole other conversation. But
yeah, that's a wrong-headed comparison as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry. Ward has wiped out and cleaned out the division, beat all the top guys. Triple G, he hasn't done that quite yet. He hasn't done that yet. He still has to fight Canelo to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but here's the thing. Canelo's not a middleweight.
Yes, he is.
And Laura's not a middleweight. And there is no middleweights that are calling him out, that have belts or even #1 contender spots. Who will fight this man? So Bernard Hopkins, gets all this credit for being a middleweight, for 10 years and reigning, but yet Triple G.
He froze on us.
I gotta say this. Triple G just needs to do what Andre Ward's doing now. Go up a weight division since nobody else wants to fight him. I mean, he'll get competition over there. I mean, instead of feeling sorry for the guy and wanting to see him do great stuff, do some great stuff where people want to fight you in another division.
No, the sanctioning bodies have to do their fucking job and make sure that whoever the mandatory is gets to fight for the belt. That would solve all these problems. Them letting the fighters control their own sanctioning bodies for money, which is what it is, that's the bullshit part. There's a ranking system for the reason of who's the champ, who's next in line to fight for that belt. He's trying to do something historic, and they're not letting him.
But let me ask you this question. Which division is it easier for him to get these opportunities despite the sanction bodies, 160 or 168?
To what? To unify the belts?
Yes.
I think 168 would be a harder unification because Triple G is a small middleweight.
He'll get the opportunities a lot easier, right?
Yeah, but that is not Triple G's fault. It would be a different story if he was dancing around them. But if somebody like Daniel Jacobs or Billy Joe Saunders was the natural choice, Billy Joe Saunders has said, no, he has a belt. It's his obligation to defend that belt against the best, and he says, I'm not ready.
That's why everybody wanted Lee to win, because they knew Lee would fight.
Right, because Lee would have gone for it, and we'd have a fight. And we'd have a very entertaining fight. Probably not a very long one, but we'd have a fight. So Saunders says no. To his credit, Turiano Johnson was completely willing, but he's not physically able. He's injured. So that's causing a delay. So at this point, nobody needs to panic. We're only talking a matter of a few months. In the meantime, yes, we're going to have what is essentially a keep busy, glorified sparring session for Triple G. It's okay. He'll fill the forum. He'll put 12,000 people in the seats in Los Angeles. That's what they're going to do. That's fine. No one needs to worry about it past that point. He's marking time. He should stay in the middleweight division. That is his natural weight. If y'all know him, he's not that big a guy. 168's, going to take a little bit more age on him and weight to settle, and he's not there yet. He's a fairly young 33-year-old middleweight. Sounds strange to say. But, we all know guys who are completely burnout jobs at, 33. Brandon Rios comes to mind. Golovkin's not that. He's got plenty of fight left in him. Plus, hardly anyone's ever hit him, so he's fine so far. So good.
And he's not a big middleweight.
About this,
He's not a big middleweight, and he's not one of those fighters that goes up in 20 pounds and in between fights and then has to lose that weight. He stays.
He varies about 10 pounds total.
He's fighting at the weight he should be fighting at.
Yeah, he walks around at a very even weight, and he's not a big guy.
But I want to give something to Real Talk because he did ask the initial question, why are people hating on Triple G more than anything? It's to me, it's easier to hate on people than it is, unfortunately, to give them their due. And frankly, when it comes to a lot of fights, it's also because fans of the fighters that are ducking Triple G don't want to believe that their man is ducking Triple G. That's what happened with Cotto for a long time. That's what happened with Martinez for a long time. So it's up to him to actually just bully these guys into doing it. Personally, I think Canelo's going to be the one to do it because he's not really known much for ducking. But when it comes down to it, like I said, Triple G, when you just described actually differences between Triple G and Kovalev, that's one of the reasons why people don't want to avoid Triple G. He's more technically sound than Kovalev. So it's a good mixture of power and technique that people want to avoid at all costs because, unfortunately, it's a Marvin Hagler situation. It's too much risk for too little reward for a lot of people.
This is what I gotta say. You talking about people hating on Triple G? I hear just as much hate on Andre Ward. Hell, I'm hearing the hate on Andre Ward right now on this panel, even though they try to disguise it saying, well, we ain't see him active. Well, nobody talks about that with Mikey Garcia and others, but hey, Andre Ward is the son of God. He proven himself, so that's the reasons why his credentials tell me to give him the benefit of the doubt, more so than just saying, why are people going at Triple G, but not use the double standards? What has Triple G done at a quicker rate in the earlier their boxing career like Andre Ward has?
And that's my thing. I can understand what everybody's saying, and you're right to a certain degree. I just think that context is critical, and it's a little bit unfair to compare Triple G and Andre Ward at this case, given what each has done. It's just not. Put it in context, it's not a fair comparison.
What I think what puts people off Andre Ward more than anything is
let me say, for folks who talk about he's a diva, for folks who talk about their inactivity, you're absolutely right. But to compare those fighters strictly in terms of accomplishment, in terms of cred, again, it's not fair. You can't do that.
Let's think about it. Let's think about that credibility for a second. All right, so we talk a lot about Andre Ward as a gold medalist. When does the statute of limitations run out on that? That was a hell of a long time ago. Golovkin was a silver medalist in a hotly disputed bout, I might add, in the amateurs. So we've got that point of comparison, gold medalist, silver medalist. That's a fine line sometimes. Since then, what has Ward done? Ward won a Super 6. What other?
Can I chime in? Can I say something?
And that's it. That's it.
Well, Ray wants to say something.
See, this is my problem. The accomplishments that Triple G has done at 160 gets diminished because, now we have resorted to him having to fight a 154-pound fighter in Canelo to prove himself. Stop
it. Let me tell you something right there.
Michael,
not really 154 pounds. We all know that.
Can I ask Travis a question?
Why don't we let him make his statement first, and then we can all jump on him.
I want to ask Travis one question, and please answer this. Whose who's more credible and who's more of a dangerous opponent, Carl Froch or Rubio? Arthur Abraham or David Lemieux? Tell me who are more credible opponents. Go ahead.
You said Arthur Abraham or David Lemieux?
Arthur Abraham or David Lemieux? Who's more of a dangerous opponent?
At the time that Triple G, at this point in time, before he fought Triple G, David Lemieux was more credible than Arthur Abraham.
No way.
No.
Whoa.
Nah, son.
Wait. No, you talking about when Andre Ward fought Arthur Abraham.
Arthur Abraham's more credible than Andre Ward, 100%.
All day long.
100%.
All day long. Even when they fought then. All day long.
100%.
I believe Arthur Abraham was a knockout artist back then, wasn't he?
Talking about what Ward done then.
Yep.
You still talking about...
Well, hold on. All right, so hold on. We're talking about what Ward did then. Then, okay, let's put this to bed now. Who has effectively cleaned out their division outside of Andre Ward in the past 10 years?
Floyd Mayweather.
Nobody answered.
Then there's nothing else to talk about.
They win.
That's the thing. Nobody has done it better than Ward, not as efficiently as Ward. Like
Ward
the
is a
closest thing you could probably get, you have to go back to the 90s with Hopkins.
Other than Klitschko, it's been Ward.
Yeah, that's it.
Ward fought better competition than Hopkins did when he cleaned out his division. Ward fought better competition than Hopkins did when he cleaned out his division. And that's
yes,
true.
he did. Yeah, because because they had to wait for Jermaine Taylor to come up to face Hopkins. Showing up.
Well,
I agree that Ward has accomplished more, but also Triple G wants to do these things, but he's not given the opportunity to do this. If they're not making the fights, then how is he supposed to accomplish what he's trying to accomplish?
what did Carl Froch do before Super 6? I mean, what did he do?
Thing is, though, personally, from someone
Knocked out Taylor. He knocked out Taylor.
Taylor.
Was in the Super 6, wasn't it?
No. The first fight of the Super 6, Abraham fought Taylor and he knocked him out.
He beat Pascal. He beat Jean Pascal.
Carl Froch didn't have quite a. Carl Froch's status in the UK wasn't high whatsoever prior to the Super 6. He barely got on Sky Sports in the UK, so it was only when he got on the Super 6 he actually started fighting the big guys. And when he moved to Matchroom Sport, that's when you saw the Carl Froch fighting Groves at Wembley, fighting the big fights. Before the Super 6, he was with Mick Hennessy, a much more smaller promoter in the UK. Therefore, he was never going to get the opportunities that he was at now under Sky Sports and Matchroom. But nevertheless, Carl Froch fought everyone in his division, didn't duck anyone. You know, he only lost to Ward and Kessler, and Kessler beat him anyway again. So, in all fairness, Carl Froch did what he done in the Super 6 and after the Super 6, and he done it well and effectively. And, you know, fast in the UK personally, he didn't duck anyone. He's looked at as like a legend.
There it is. There it is.
Yep, there it is. Yeah.
And Ward beat him quite late.
Ward beat him.
And while you're right to say that Triple G hasn't been given that opportunity because some fires were I'm saying because of that, it's really unfair at this point to compare both of their careers. Context potential again. You have to put all that in the factors, so you can't do that. It's unfair to both fighters.
I think Triple G, in all fairness, I mean, he hasn't fought the worst opponents. He's fought okay opponents. I mean, Martin Murray, he fought from the UK, and middleweight is not his natural limit anyway. Then fought guys like, you know, Jorge Rubio, Mark Antonio Rubio, Davin Lemur. Davin Lemur's a knockout artist. He's just a puncher. So I thought that was a mismatch anyway. Billy Joe Saunders' fight is a good fight though. Saunders Triple G, I like that fight.
Yeah, I like that fight as well, man. Yo, what up, everyone, man? I see, boy, you guys are getting heating up over there. Someone was echoing a minute ago, man. Mike, come back. Where you at, man? Come up. This show's heating up.
Let me finish, EJ. I just introduced him. PSB Boxing is joining us. EJ Boxing Live is joining us. Hakim Boxing Live is joining us right now. I'm gonna bring you into this quickly, EJ. Just kind of delve into a discussion comparing Triple G and Andre Ward. We were talking about the Ward Kovalev fight, so I thought on that, and it kind of delve into this discussion. Quickly, EJ, your thoughts on this? We was comparing Triple G, Ward, resume, accomplishments. Your thoughts on this before we move on quickly?
Listen, man, look, man. And the real talk, this is what real talk. Real talk's a Triple G guy. The thing is, the bottom line is they ain't gonna fight. Ward gonna fight Kovalev. That's what we talk about. Ain't nothing more to talk about no more. He gonna fight Kovalev. Triple G, forget about it, man. If they were gonna fight, I'd put some real stock into it. It's not gonna happen. Kovalev, Triple G, Kovalev last week. That's what's up right now. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say this. I'm not comparing the two. It's just all the Ward fans and the Triple G haters are trying to compare Triple G to Bernard Hopkins, Triple G to Andre Ward. I'm not comparing it. All I'm saying is stop shitting on the man. Look, the dude could easily have done what Ward has done, and really, in my case, in my opinion, if they're running, then he's already done it because they already know what time it is.
Bro, let me tell you something, bro. Like, let me tell you something. All the middleweights, they've all had criticism, and that's the way it is. Bernard Hopkins has criticism for years. He ain't fighting nobody. Marvin Hagler, he wasn't getting no props until he fought Sugar Ray Leonard, and that's the way it is. You're gonna have to take that, bro. Triple G gonna get that criticism until he gets that big fight, and that's the way it is, man. We ain't gonna give that guy no love. On his resume, there ain't no one good. The biggest name on there, who did he even win the title of? David Lemieux? Come on, man. Like, you tweet until he gets them big fights, the criticism is fair and out. Like, look at Amir Khan. Look what Amir Khan. Look what Amir Khan's gonna done. The criticism, he's stalking Mayweather, he's stalking Pacquiao. Look what he went and done. He's fighting Canelo. No one's saying nothing. So that's all it is. Let the criticism roll. Hey, you backing your boy? Fine. Just roll with the punches until he gets the big fight. That's what I'm saying, bro. You know what I mean?
Also, Triple G isn't unbeatable. He can be beaten 100%. There's this fair fact to go around about Golovkin acting like he's a beast, and he is a beast, but people are so scared to fight him. The reason why he's so effective is because he slowly but surely breaks his opponents down on the ropes with body shots. Nobody fights Golovkin in the center of the ring. And the reason why nobody tries to fight him in the center of the ring or outbox him, usually he's much more smart than them. If you give a guy like Billy Joe Saunders, who's a slick boxer, and someone that will actually, someone that can actually go to the trenches with Golovkin, because we've seen him in the UK go to the trenches. He's floored Andy Lee twice. If you put Golovkin in with a slick boxer, someone who's going to fight him in the center of the ring and not get backed up onto the ropes every single time he launches an attack, Golovkin will be in problems. Mark my words. The guy in Invincible, Martin Murray, who isn't the best of fighters, Martin Murray, who's 4 world title fights, took Golovkin 11 rounds. So if you give him like a world champion, a good boxer, Billy Joe Saunders, he will cause him problems. Golovkin is not invincible. He can be beaten, as I've just said.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
I want to comment on the Martin Murray. You have to remember that he destroyed Murray for most of the fight. Martin Murray was surviving. It wasn't like he took rounds and he was doing something. He was surviving for 11 rounds. So, and Billy Joe Saunders is not slick. He just slick for a European fighter that isn't black. That's all honesty. That's what that is. Let's be honest. Not slick, man. Not slick.
Hey, this is the thing, right? This is the thing. You can't test someone until they go against a guy with a high stat. So Billy Joe Saunders, exactly what he said. PSAP Boxing said. Exactly. Against a higher caliber opponent, then you can see how good he is. That's what it is. And the guys are going, they're not very higher caliber opponents. But that's what Golovkin's just beating who's in front of him. And that's all you can ask. And that's the bottom line.
Let's move on. We could talk about this all damn night. But I'm going to move on and talk about the news because there's really no fights happening this weekend. I want to break into some news story. We're going to talk Canelo and Khan. We're going to save that to the end. But I'm going to break up a few breaking news stories. I'm going to split it between everybody here. Before Sean dipped out, he left a link. Everybody mute to my place. Before Sean dipped out, he left a link here in the chat talking about a possible Donna Nietes, Juan Francisco Estrada fights in May. I'm going to go to Daniel Daniel and Gail to talk about this. Your thoughts on this kind of breaking news. It's a news report from the Philippines about this fight. Daniel, Gail, talk about it, please.
Me like it. Me like it a lot. It's a very, very good fight at that division. And like I said, this could be a stepping stone for Estrada to get that rematch that he wants with Chocolatito. Coming around June or July. It's going to be a beautiful fight. Apparently, I think it's going to be held in the Philippines in Cebu.
In the May fight is apparently being talked about. Nothing's in stone yet, but it looks like Cebu's under discussion in May.
Either way, I like the fight. It's going to be a beautiful fight to see. And it's among the little guys, which finally they're going to get some respect. And like I said, one of these two guys, if they win, they could position themselves now to get an HBO deal with Chocolatito.
Briefly, I love it.
If it's at StubHub, 100 miles up the freeway from me, save my front row seat.
Absolutely.
I'll be there.
Everybody knows that Chocolatito is the big name out there. Gonzalez's toughest opponent was Estrada back in 2012 around Thanksgiving time. But the guy who doesn't get the pub that he should is Dani Nietes, former champ at 105 and 108. Well, current champ at 108. Outstanding fighter, outstanding skill. And I'm telling you right now, from what I've seen of Nietes, he will give Gallo Estrada all that he can handle. Terrific fight. I would be really, really surprised if that fight lands in Cebu, Philippines. They must going to pay Gallo Estrada a lot of money for Aaron to let that happen. But yeah, if that does happen,
Well, the article says a tune-up fight for Nietes is scheduled in Cebu, not Estrada.
Oh, okay.
A tune-up, and then the Estrada fight happens at a later date, rumored to be in September at StubHub, and that's the place to do it because you have both the Mexican and Filipino fan base, and they will pack that joint, just as they packed that joint to see. Interestingly enough, it was the Donaire fight against Walters. The Filipino fan base packed the joint. So they'll be there for Nietes. That'll be a dandy card with everybody.
To be fair though, that was on the Triple G undercard though too.
Yep, that was on the Rubio GGG undercard. But sizable Filipino fan bases here in Southern California, so that's the place to do it.
Let me bring Francis and Joe into this as well, but since it's been a long time since we heard from them, your thoughts on potential Nietes Gallo Estrada fight?
I like it. I really hope it happens. I know Francis is Filipino, so her dad loves Dani Nietes. So we've been watching him, and I hope it happens. I think it'd be a pretty interesting fight. And hey, if the winner can get a shot at Chocolatito, even better.
I agree. They both have very similar fighting styles, so it would be an interesting fight. I am a big fan of Dani Nietes. I think he's very talented, and it's only a matter of time until we see him break wide open into the U.S. I think he's got great potential.
And correct me if I'm wrong. What was it his last fight at StubHub?
Yeah, it was at StubHub, but it was going against the Triple G fight with Lemieux at the Madison Square Gardens.
Okay. I'll go to UPSB Boxing, EJ Boxing Live. I don't know if this is confirmed yet, but I've been hearing that Guillermo Rigondeaux is going to fight in England next. Have you heard anything your way about Rigo fighting in England?
Yeah. It's been confirmed pretty much by Frank Warren that Guillermo Rigondeaux was going to be fighting Jazza Dickens on March the 12th. It's on the undercard of the lightweight clash between Terry Flanagan and Gary Matthews. An absolute mismatch. But Boxing Nation and Frank Warren are trying to drive subscribers. They're a subscription channel, so as many big names as they can get on the channel, the more subscribers they're going to get. I don't see that fight being competitive. With all due respect to Jazza Dickens, I wish her all the best. But however, I cannot see Jazza Dickens be competitive in this particular fight with Guillermo Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux, the most feared super bantamweight out there, and the winner of that has to face the winner of Quigg and Frampton. But yeah, that is correct. Rigondeaux will face Dickens, but it's an absolute mismatch. I can't see Rigondeaux losing.
Follow up, PSP. Is it true that Zolane Tete is fighting on that card as well?
I believe so. Zolane Tete signed with Frank Warren towards the back end of 2015, and I believe Zolane Tete will also be on that card, but his opponent is yet to be announced.
Okay, what's the word, EJ? What's the word on that fight? Rigo fighting in England.
My man PS Boxing makes me laugh, bro. That guy's cold-hearted, bro. He's just telling the cold-hard facts, bro. It's a mismatch. That's what it is. It's a bloody mismatch. But it's not PS Boxing. Frank Warren's a bloody dodgy dude. When he brings guys over from other countries, he bangs them in hotels, gives them bad food. They better make sure they got an expensive hotel. They make sure they're near a gym where the gym only opens a certain time. And then
Pray for Frank.
Huh? Yeah, that's how.
Pray for Frank.
Yeah, that's how. Frank Warren, by the way, Frank Warren's nickname is Fish Eyes over here. That's what a lot of people call him.
Damn.
Good old Fish Eyes.
Yeah, he's proper. Yeah, that's the sort of guy he is. He's a dodgy guy, a dodgy car salesman. So so what he will try and do, right, for that fight is trying to get the upset and try and do these little things to mess with Rigo. And I agree. Everything on PS Boxing, I 100% agree. And you gotta watch Frank Warren. He's a very dodgy dude, man. But PS Boxing's got his finger on the pulse. So, bro, like, a lot of news there. He's on it, man. He's on it.
I'm gonna go to Antoine and Real Talk and Hakim. I'm hearing that Wilder, it looks like he's gonna fight April 8th. And I'm hearing that the fight with Povetkin, it looked like it may finally happen. What you hearing? Your thoughts?
I'm hearing the same thing. So I heard that Wilder said that he was trying to fight 3 times this year. So and I know Povetkin was definitely supposed to be on the horizon because he wants to get that mandatory out the way because he wants the winner between Klitschko and Fury. So that's what Wilder's aiming for right now. But to do that, he has to get that Povetkin mandatory out the way. So I look forward to that going down.
Real talk.
What was the question?
Let me unmute your mic. There you go. I'm hearing that Wilder, he wants to fight with Povetkin, and it may happen as soon as April 8th. Your thoughts?
I have my microphone muted. Say it one more time.
The word is that Wilder wants to fight Povetkin next, and the fight may happen in April. Your thoughts?
That's damn good. That's exactly where he needs to be going. I like that fight, and that's a step. That's another higher step up. That's a smart move. I think he should take it. Just like I think Triple G and Canelo. I think Canelo should have took Triple G. That's how I feel about it. You know, Wilder's taking a chance. If he does take this fight, I gotta give him props. You know what I'm saying?
Hakim. Yeah, I hear you. Hakim, unmute your mic. Your thoughts on that, bro? Hakim Boxing, if you're around, unmute your mic. And I don't.
I apologize. My thoughts on the fight. Which fight were you referring to?
Possible Wilder Povetkin bout in April.
Oh, okay. I don't think Povetkin is going to be able to fight Wilder because I don't think he's going to take the fight. Anytime Povetkin is faced with a really good challenge where he will not win, he'll hold the fight off for about 1 or 2 years before he'll ever take the fight. And I just don't see his team really. But the way his team is responding to questions and the situation, I don't think they want any part of Wilder. He probably won't fight Wilder until probably middle of next year at the earliest.
I'm gonna go to you on this final story first, Daniel, and then you, Jacob. I think the last show or 2 shows ago, we talked about the possibility of Francisco Vargas fighting Orlando Salido. We're hearing now that he may fight Miura in a rematch. Give us an update on that, and then you can follow up, Jacob.
From what I'm trying to hear, it's one of the possible fights on the undercard, I think, for Canelo Khan is going to be coming up. Because Oscar and Golden Boy has stated various times that when they came with this fight, they're going to load the undercard. They're going to put it with good fights. And that's a pretty good fight. It's a good rematch. It's a rematch of a lot of people's fight of the year. I said, personally, I would rather see him versus Salido at StubHub because that would just be a bloody war. But him and Miura, a good fight, and it was good tension throughout. I would love it. And that fight alone, that or Salido fight with Vargas, that could be worth just the price and admission of itself with Canelo Khan.
Completely agree. I mean, we can't lose either way.
Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, it's It's a good fight. I mean, again, it was my fight of the year, and I can't hate on that. I mean, I just hope that the damage that Amir took in that fight isn't one of those fights where like a Taylor Chavez, where they just never the same, and it becomes maybe non-competitive. So, I mean, I'm excited to see that fight, but I have some doubts on whether it's going to live up to its potential, because that was a brutal fight.
Yeah. Are you thinking that the first fight took too much punishment out of both guys for it to live up to expectations?
Maybe not too much punishment out of Francisco, but maybe Mura. He looked pretty bad. I mean, he got beat down pretty bad in that later half of the fight. I mean, there was a point I thought he was going to win that fight, but I don't know. Sometimes those fights happen where, you could be a great fighter, but then just this fight just takes it out of you, and you're just never the same. So I hope that's not the case. But, it's hard for these, rematches or trilogies to live up to a fight like that.
Okay, this is episode 113 of Pound for Pound Boxing Report. I'm your host, Michael. Got a lot of folks with us tonight. Gail, Joe, and Fastness from 4 Boxing News, PSB Boxing, and EJ Boxing Live joining us live from the UK. Real Talk, new to the show this evening, as well as PSB. Antoine Carney, new to the show. Jacob, Daniel, Sean was on earlier. Jay Dill was on earlier. And I hope I'm giving everybody enough time to talk. There's a lot of people. I'm trying to spread everything around. I hope I'm doing a good job. We're going to go to the main event. The news that broke yesterday that had boxing folks talking all over the place, particularly us boxing hardheads. It was announced Canelo Alvarez next fight will be against, wait for it, Amir Khan, May 7th, I believe, in Vegas. I'm gonna go to Joe and Francis first because I think they had the least amount of time to talk. Your initial, and I'm just gonna open up for everybody after that. Your initial thoughts, Francis and Joe, when you first heard the word that Canelo was gonna fight Amir Khan.
I was shocked. I didn't see it coming. Usually fights they talk about forever and then they finally get made. This one came out of nowhere. I think it's a great opportunity for Amir Khan because he's been chasing Mayweather and he's been chasing Pacquiao and could never land that big fight. So Canelo, that's a great fight for Amir Khan. And I think it's an interesting matchup. You got Canelo, who's got a lot of power. You got Khan with the speed. I think it'll be an interesting. You get Mexico versus the UK, and I'm excited for it.
Yes, when I saw the headline, I thought to myself, is this real? Is this really happening? Because that fight seemed like it came out of left field. I think it'll be a very intriguing fight. I think Khan is viewed as the underdog because of Canelo and his power, and he will likely stalk Khan in the ring. Khan mostly just has to rely on his lateral movement and his jab to stay away from Canelo, but judging from his fight with Algieri, and Canelo is obviously on a different level than Algieri, I could see Canelo landing that left hook all night and taking Khan out pretty early. But if Khan can maintain his distance and use his footwork and that jab to stay away from Canelo, he has a shot at winning. But I think it might be a very slim chance.
Okay, I'm gonna open it up for everybody. I'll just say it quickly. When I heard it, I was like, Francis, like, really? Is this a joke? Are folks trolling me? What the hell? Bold move by Khan. I've been a critic of Khan in the past. I can't throw shots at him for taking this kind of fight. But Canelo, I'm side-eyeing him a bit here. Just everybody, just open up your mics. Talk about it, your initial thoughts. Go.
It's a trash fight for me.
It's a good fight. I think it's a good fight. It's a new MGM Stadium. They need a fight to fill it up. At 20,000 seats. You can't just fight anybody and start to fill up that stadium. So, Khan is good choice. You want to fill up seats, 20,000 seats, you got to fight somebody worth mentioning. He couldn't have did that against the Rosado.
It is a disrespect to the middleweight division and the belt. It's complete garbage.
Thank you.
I saw it, and I was like a lot of people saying, is this real? I'm not quite sure about this. The release hit our inboxes at 9:17 Pacific time, 12 17 Eastern. I think Dan Raphael of ESPN turned it around fastest. The rest of us were looking at this saying, okay, it is issued by Golden Boy. It's legit. This just got to be right. And, of course, then the rest of the universe found out about it. Now, here's an interesting thing. We were all very impressed that there was not a whiff of rumor about this. I mean, not the tiniest bit of talk going on. And there are no bigger gossipy community than the boxing community. But props to Oscar. He kept that thing tight. Apparently, he negotiated with Shah Khan, Amir's father. There's some question about what Al Heyman's role was or wasn't in this whole thing. But here's something very interesting. Anthony Saldana, who writes for Ringside Report, one of the blog sites that's out there, has a piece of video that he got with Oscar in December, interview we did with him. He goes to a lot of the LA Fight Night stuff and local club stuff in Southern California, so he sees Oscar frequently. And Oscar, in December, kind of just yapping with him, mentioned Amir Khan. That is the one and only clue that was out there. And Anthony didn't think twice about it at the time. So was Oscar thinking about it that far back, and he still managed to keep this quiet? Very impressive. You know, and at first I didn't even know what to think about it. I was still holding my reaction. You know, the more time goes by, the more I like it. What the hell? It is going to fill the seats. We're all talking about it. It gets Amir back in the ring, and the outcomes either way make for some other interesting combinations. So it's settling well with me, and I'll be there.
I think it's good because, like old buddy said, you know, it's a disgrace to the middleweight division, and it gives me an opportunity to sit back and get pleasure when Amir Khan, you know, basically runs his, you know, uses his footwork, and if he has to run his way to victory, because I think that's what's going to happen. Amir Khan's just going to, if he has to run, he's just going to run. Because you got to think, coming into the fight, man, if you're coming into a fight with a puncher like that, you're already set on winning the decision. You're not trying to knock that have seeing that the smaller guys have that, like when Manny Pacquiao came up to fight Oscar, he wasn't trying to knock Oscar out because he was like, man, I'm going up all these weight classes, who knows? So what does he do? Box is beautiful, and I think because he's that small, he's not gonna try and engage. He's gonna survive. Survival is a beautiful thing. I mean, it's gonna really help him. So. Well,
and if you've seen pictures of these guys together and you look at their stats, Amir is taller than Canelo. Canelo is a very square, you know, middleweight. He carries all his weight across the back and very low. And he's not going to be as mobile as Amir. Amir's going to run rings around him.
I want to ask a question. I went to BoxRec and I went to Wikipedia, and they both got Amir Khan at 5'8.5", and they got Canelo at 5'9". I've seen this on every. I think Canelo's like 5'7", right?
Yeah, Canelo. Believe me, Canelo is not that tall.
I know. Why do they have him at 5'9"?
There's no way. There's no
it's like
way.
a basketball thing. It's like a
it is. It is.
It just
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've stood up next to Canelo numerous times, and he is not 5'9".
Yeah, during the stare down between Mayweather and Canelo, Mayweather was taller than Canelo. I remember that.
Yeah. Amir's, you know, assuming he wasn't wearing, you know, heels in this picture of them that's together, he's not a lot taller, but an inch. You know, we're going to see a press tour here pretty quick, and they're going to do some stare downs, and we'll get a really good fix of size when we see them. I expect to see that announced in the next week or so, and I'm sure they'll start, assuming Amir is still out here, they'll go west to east, so we'll see.
Antoine, EJ, Daniel, I stepped out. Did you have a chance to chime in?
Yeah. I think Antoine.
Oh, no, go ahead, man.
Personally, I found out by David Montoya tweeting out the Golden Boy video and him saying this is not a Rickroll. I looked at it and it's like, wait a minute, this is from Golden Boy. This is real. And I started to think about the fight. Immediately my thoughts were, they can't just decide to die? They can't just decide to die at this point? I'd rather not fight Kell Brooks, so I'd rather die. But it started to grow on me because of the styles. Like, as far as hand speed and foot speed and lateral movement, Khan is pretty similar to Floyd. But the difference is he's not as defensively sound as Floyd. So Khan can try to use the lateral movement, try to use the jab, but Canelo's a better technician than people give him credit for. And he just needs to find one quick opening on that chin. And like EJ Boxing Live right now has the picture up right now. That can easily happen. And Khan will revert back to his old tricks because Khan, remember, when you hit him, he'll fight back. He'll try his best to fight back. And that's not what looks like is going to happen. The best comparison I could probably think of when it comes to this fight, and I think people are pretty correct on this one, Terry Norris versus Michael Taylor. Another situation, a guy moving up, decent class. It didn't look like the size difference was much, but you can pretty much tell one guy's power was overwhelming the other one in the end. It's going to be an interesting fight. It's going to fill up seats. They're going to have a nice press tour. And in case people have not noticed, this also included a promotional deal with Amir Khan to sign with Golden Boy. So Amir Khan is now back with Golden Boy, and they're working on a longer-term deal. So to me, the more intrigue is more what's going on behind the scenes than the actual fight itself, which I got to agree with Gail. Amazing job at keeping it on the wraps.
Let me ask you guys a question, quick.
You froze on us, real.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Let PSV box. I want to hear his take on it. I'm dying to hear his take on this, bro.
Yeah, I hadn't heard. What's the word, bro?
Yeah, I mean, if you check out the channel PSV, so I did my opinion on this. I mean, it was brilliant, firstly, but the much more funnier thing was that Eddie Hearn and Matchroom had the fourth at Wembley Stadium booked in to fight Kell Brook, and Eddie Hearn was feeling pretty confident about that fight being called off, but unfortunately for them, booking on at Wembley never happened on June the 4th because Khan was playing them the whole time, man. He had the Canelo trump card right up his sleeve, so which is very, very interesting. And I gotta give good old Uncle Al, the Lord and Savior Uncle Al, credit for allowing Khan to go on and face Canelo. My actual opinion on the fight is that I think it's actually a very competitive fight. A lot of people think Canelo's the clear favorite, like 100% he's gonna win. But I actually beg to differ. Agreed, Canelo's power was shown in the crushing knockout of James Kirkland. However, Khan's got thorough speed. I mean, this guy hits fast. I've been to his public workouts. I've seen the way Khan boxes on the pads and stuff. He's very fast. He's got a lot of punch variety, which can hurt Canelo. What Khan's footwork's not too bad either. I think he's improved under Virgil Hunter. His defense has got slightly better, but one worry on is suspect in, and defense can become wayward at times. To put my money on someone now, I'll just go Canelo. I believe it's a fight Amir Khan can win, and it's very smooth on his behalf because he knows that if he loses to Canelo, which people expect him to lose, I personally don't think he will definitely lose. I think it's a fight he can win. But if he does lose to Canelo, his stock will still rise if he's involved in a good fight. And he always knows that he can go back to the UK and fight Kell Brook at Wembley Stadium anyway. So it's a great business move by Amir Khan, regardless. And it's similar to Cleverly Fonfara. Nathan Cleverly could have fought Jürgen Bremer for the WBA light heavyweight title, but instead he fought Fonfara in the fight at the year contender. His stock was going through the roof, and he's probably going to get paid double the amount of money the first time. But the fans in the UK were a bit disappointed we don't get to see Brooke Khan at Wembley. But nevertheless, Khan Canelo took us completely by surprise, and we're absolutely buzzing about this fight. And I think it's going to be a great fight on Cinco de Mayo at Mexican holiday. One that I think that American can win with his punch variety and speed. And I'm not too worried about the fact that he's going to go up to 155 because he's been out the ring it will be a year since he's been out the ring when he actually gets in there. So I think the weight would have been progressively put on throughout the year anyway, so I don't think it will affect his speed and stuff too much. So I'm looking forward to a great fight. I think Amir Khan can win with the speed and punch variety, but I believe Canelo is the favorite. That's my take on it.
My only pushback is that the thing about Amir Khan, even with Hunter in his corner, there are moments in a fight where he loses concentration and the discipline is lacking. And against an improving Canelo boxing-wise, with his precision and his accuracy, he can't let that happen because he's the naturally smaller guy, because of his chin issues. He has to fight he has to put on the best performance of his career, in my opinion, to beat Canelo. Can he do it? Yeah, but he's going to have to be spot on discipline-wise to make that happen, and I haven't seen him do that in any fight in his career. So that's my only pushback. Your thoughts, EJ?
Yeah. EJ boxing live here. Let me tell you something, bro. This fight is what boxing's all about, bro. You've got stylistically two great styles, the bull and the matador, so to speak. Canelo the bull, and obviously Khan is the matador. And like boxing fans right now, this is what it is, like trying to make good fights. Now, whether it's gonna be a mismatch, we're gonna find out. But the bottom line, it's got people talking about it in a period where boxing's at a low. I mean, there's nothing happening until the end of this March 27th. Hank Lundy, Crawford, and there's nothing going on. So this fight keep people talking for at least for a couple of weeks at least. And I'm telling you, like, I think Khan can win the fight. Khan can win the fight comfortably for me. Right? All I see is Khan is just basically stick and move. All he has to do is stick him, move, then try and tie him up, let the referee come in between them. And I think he can do it. And I think he has the capability, the boxing IQ to do it. The only thing is, if he throws too many combinations, he's gonna get caught. So you're looking about maybe probably two combinations. Probably a jab to the stomach, probably maybe even right hand, and then tie him up. That's what you got to do if you're trying to win the fight. If he tries to win the fight where thereby he's thinking that he's going to try and knock out Canelo, tries to go for the knockout where he got knocked out by Danny Garcia, then boom, down he goes, bro. There he is on the floor, boy. So, but he'll try and get back up and I'm sure Khan will throw a fight again. So Khan has to try and fight the perfect fight for me to try and win the fight, and I think it's winnable. And boxing fans are in a treat. I mean, a lot of people saying it's a mismatch, why are we doing it? But the thing is, if he fights Kell Britain's got the possibility of ending his career. And if he fights Danny Garcia, also as well, they could end his career because where would you go after that? But if you fight Canelo, like Piers of Boxing says, and a lot of people says, you ain't going to go nowhere, you can just take a time off, come back. And Kell Brook's still starving for that fight. I mean, people talk about Khan is thirsty and too hungry. Look at Kell Brook. He's bloody thirsty and starving, and look who he's fighting. Busy, eh? Bro, like, Eddie Hearn's got excuses as long as my arm. Nah, mate, I'm not having it, yeah? So, in my opinion, one minute, bro. In my opinion, yeah, I just got it like this, yeah? Amir Khan is reaching for greatness, whether he doesn't, if he wins, bro, I bet you if he wins, yeah, I'm going to put it out right now. If he wins, he's facing Triple G. If he wins, he's going to go against Triple G. Because Triple G said he'll come down to 154. Khan will be the A side. Triple G will win that fight. I reckon Khan would fight him as well. You wouldn't even want Kell Brook or Danny Garcia. Yeah. And you know what? Listen to this. This is another thing. Kell Brook has told Eddie Hearn that he wants Eddie Hearn to make the fight with him and Triple G. So there's possibility. So I'm just letting you know that. Go ahead, PS Boxing. Go ahead.
Yeah. So with me, it's PSB Sports here, guys. So basically, the way I look at it is from a UK standpoint, and EJ as well. If you the same as me on this, I actually believe that Kell Brook needs Amir Khan. Amir Khan doesn't need Kell Brook. Khan isn't stupid. He knows he can go on with his career without Kell Brook. Joe Brook is yet to have that number one big standout fight. Yeah, he beat Sean Porter, but that was over in California. Since he's a world champion, he hasn't had a free career as champion, mainly due to injury. He was supposed to fight Chavez, that didn't happen. They're trying to get Marquez, trying to get Bradley. They're not getting these big names. Kell Brook hasn't fought the same caliber of opposition as Amir Khan. He hasn't had that standout big fight. Khan's got a better resume, fought better opponents, and he's conquered America. Kell Brook has done none of the above. If Amir Khan doesn't fight Kell Brook, the only thing people are going to say is, Khan, why did you never fight Brook? With Brook, they can say, yeah, you always went to fight Khan, but do you think Amir Khan is going to give a monkeys when he's got about 30 million stacked up in the bank after fighting Canelo, possibly Golovkin? And you never know. If he beats Canelo, good old Floyd might come out of retirement and fight him. So that's just something I was thinking out there.
I'm going to bring Shaw since he joined us back. Since he joined back in. You can comment as well, Hakim. Your initial thoughts, Sean, unmute your mic, when you first heard about Canelo fighting Amir Khan.
I'm like, can you hear me clearly, or has it got bad feedback right now?
Go ahead, Hakim, because Sean, his mic is still muted. I don't think he's around. Go ahead, Hakim.
My thoughts on the fight were, at first, I didn't believe it, like most people, to be honest with you. I didn't believe it at all. And the second thing was I'm about to pray for Amir Khan. That was the second thing. After that little bit of shock when it fell through, it really is a good fight. Amir Khan does have a very good chance of winning, because if Canelo cannot knock out Amir Khan, what can Canelo really do? I mean, that was the main issue against Floyd. He couldn't knock Floyd out. And as soon as he could knock Floyd out, the fight became very, very dull, because Floyd Mayweather just boxed the brakes off him. If Canelo can't knock out Khan, he's got to either win on a gift decision or he's going to lose by decision. That's my viewpoints on the fight.
Looks like Sean dipped out. I'm going to open up everybody. One last final word on this before we start shutting down the show.
Yeah. So to me, I mean, this fight was very disappointing to hear. And the reason is that, and even Khan tweeted out that, this is for the 155-pound championship. First of all, there's no fucking 150. I know. I'm just repeating what he said. But there is no fucking 155-pound championship. That's the first thing. But what has Khan done to deserve a shot at the belt? He has done nothing. He's doing absolutely nothing. I think people are getting blinded by the shiny object of, oh wow, they're two big names fighting, and they're overlooking the fact that Canelo should be fighting Triple G at 160 for the belt. If he doesn't want to fight that fight, vacate the damn belt, and then you can go fight Khan at whatever fucking weight you want, some welterweight fight. But I don't know. I'm really disgusted by this whole thing, in the sense that Khan he talks and he talks and he talks, and everybody's saying, oh, well, he has balls and whatever. He doesn't have the balls to face Brook, but he has the balls to face Canelo. And just because you talk and you want to fight, that doesn't mean you deserve a fight. To me, you got to be in the ring, prove it, and then you can get the big fights. That's how it's supposed to be. So I'm probably the only one on this side.
Nobody has said that a Canelo Triple G fight won't happen. The discussion has always been that fight will be in the fall. Canelo had his big fight, and we've talked on this show many times that these guys can't have a big ticket, big pressure banger fight every single time out. They ebb and flow. So
he's not even fighting a guy in his weight class. So Khan's a welterweight, and he's not even ranked in the WBC. Tell me where he's ranked. He's not. He's not ranked.
There have been a lot of fighters who step up in weight. So we'll see what happens. I think stylistically we may have some surprises. It's intriguing enough to see. And just because Canelo is fighting Khan in May doesn't mean he isn't going to fight Triple G, assuming he wins in September.
What if there's a rematch clause and Canelo lose and there's a rematch clause? What do you think is going to happen?
They're going to pick it up.
We'll pick it up. We'll see. Fans are very impatient. I understand that. But there is.
It's not impatience when Triple G was promised the shot, right? He was supposed to fight Cotto. Cotto didn't want to fight him. He stepped aside for Cotto, Canelo, and he was going to get the winner. And then it happened again. I blame the WBC too. The WBC is as much to blame in this whole thing.
Jacob,
we're talking over each other here. One at a time, please.
Jacob, first of all, like, let me address some of the issues that you have. I understand the issue, like you've spoken about it many times. The problem is, though, first, Triple G's tied up right now by the IBF. He has to fight his mentor right now, who's not Dominic Wade. He has to fight him. So he's not going to be available now for me with Canelo, even though they would have done it, but the IBF is kind of strict, getting really, really strict right now when it comes to the mandatories. And if Triple G's really true about the mission of getting all the belts, he has to do that. It's fight Wade. Business, that's a bad thing. I know you don't like this, but this was business. This was a business decision. Unfortunately, yeah. Gabe Rosado, William Amo Jr., hell, even Curtis Stevens. They're more legitimate middleweights that could have stepped in the ring with Canelo. But Oscar and HBO are trying to get Canelo to be a pay-per-view fighter where only his fights are on pay-per-view, not on HBO Championship Boxing. And Khan, like I said, as diminished as the fan base might have gotten, can bring you that. And like I said, it's an interesting clash of styles. I think Canelo's going to win, but it's a clash of styles, and it's more business oriented than a lot of people get credit for. I know we're not going to have this discussion most likely on air, but there's a lot of movement going on that I'm seeing already between what Khan has been doing and what's been involved here, that it opens up a lot more avenues for Oscar.
I think that Triple G would take the WBC championship fight over the IBF mandatory if he was given a choice to be the lineal middleweight champion.
But Jacob, then he loses the IBF title, and then the IBF champion is going to do what Billy Joe Saunders is doing. Nothing.
Yeah, but the WBC belt is worth more, I think, in most people's eyes than the IBF.
Yeah, it is. And all roads lead to Triple G, regardless of that. Like Gail said, it's going to happen. Someone's going to be after fighting Triple G. Amir Khan, if it's someone's fighting Triple G, the Triple G's are sitting there, get rid of your man tree, and sit there waiting. Like Tyson Fury has to fight Luis Ortiz. It's going to happen whether or not. Well, you either vacate the belt or you fight Triple G. So let's enjoy this fight.
I'll take Triple G.
Huh?
No, EJ is right. I mean, that's the exact right way to put it. All roads lead to Triple G. And Daniel alluded to this. This was the one fight that Oscar could make, thawing the big divide between him and Al Heyman. Now, if that partnership can somehow, those two can learn to get along, think of all the fights we know right now cannot be made because of that firewall between them, and this goes well for everybody, and everybody makes their dough, and everybody's happy, win or lose, whoever it is, then maybe Al Heyman decides to bring in over another guy, and maybe the next thing you know, you do see that fight between Triple G and Danny Jacobs, and that's a hell of a fight. So, I'm willing to step back, and take less to get more later. It's delayed gratification, and I know a lot of you guys don't like that, but I think the payoff possibility is well worth it. EJ's right. All roads eventually lead to Triple G. They do. We just gotta wait for it.
Well, yeah.
I think Triple G also needs to do a better job of marketing himself. I mean, he's knocking people out, and he's not giving people reason to want to like him besides saying he's a nice guy. Nice guys don't make money. Andre Ward's nice and dominates, doesn't make money. He needs to play the bad guy or do something to change his image so he can sell more tickets.
Let me push back against it. I know I made the comparison between Triple G and Ward in the ring. I think Ward is superior. But outside the ring, I mean, look, Ward don't have the Apple deal. Ward is not being branded all over ESPN.
True.
Ward is not being invited to Jerry Jones Stadium, 100,000 seats, talking about a fight with Triple G at some point in the future.
Triple G just sold out Madison Square Garden, 20,000 plus seats. I was sitting there, and I've never heard an arena louder in my life. He nearly sold out the Los Angeles Forum. He put the biggest crowd in history in StubHub. But believe me, the fans will go see him. The fans sell out any venue he shows up in.
And his merchandising.
But they're not buying his pay-per-view.
Crazy. He's had, let's back up and look at that. He had one pay-per-view, the night of a major playoff, a major World Series game, I believe it was, up against him. That in America for a pay-per-view is an impossible mountain to climb. Even then, it was adequate. I think that jury is still out. Fair enough, we don't really know. But as far as live venue, and somebody mentioned merchandising. Do you know that Madison Square Garden fight with GGG and Lemieux set the all-time one-night merchandising record at Madison Square Garden? All time.
StubHub also had a almost sold-out merchandising.
And correct me, put this in context. The Mets were in the World Series. And
that's the problem. That was the competition that night. The Mets and Chicago were playing. So, it's tough to get people to walk away from that. But think about that. The biggest merchandising night in Madison Square Garden history, there's a fan base, folks. And it's just a matter of time that they get there. His team, all due credit to them, they are very patient. They've done absolutely the right things. I can tell you, it is the weirdest thing in the world in Southern California to see this Eastern European fighter packing venues full of Mexican fans, all wearing Mexicans for GGG t-shirts and crazy stuff like that, cheering right next to their Kazakh brothers. It is awesome. They have really done a good job with him.
That's to do with the trainer, though. What's his name? What's the trainer's name again? Sanchez.
Abel Sanchez.
That's to do with the trainer. It's a lot to do with the trainer's been talking to Diop, and Triple G's been backing him up. And Abel Sanchez has done a great job, and that's the reason why with the Mexican fan base has helped, because Mexicans enjoy this type of style Triple G brings. And I tell you what.
Yes. And when Triple G said after, I forget which fight it was, I think it might have been after it was the fight prior to Gil, if I recall right. He's still just starting to do interviews in English at that point a year or two ago. And he said, I know, fans like my style. It's like a Mexican style. And that caught on. They were smart enough to flog that, and
Mexican
people picked up on it.
And he was smart enough to speak some Espanol after a fight.
I'll tell you what, when he was at, and Jacob, I think you were there, the Triple G Rubio fight, that's his first really, good-sized venue fight in Southern California. And the first thing he does after the fight is says, Buenos noches, amigos. And they went nuts. They
were eating out of his hand. They were absolutely eating out of his hand.
But what happened to the Mexican style fight when he fought Lemieux? He didn't fight Mexican style then. He was fighting like Floyd, and then to eventually broke him down. So I'm just saying, he didn't fight it there. We was expecting a war there. We was expecting a blood.
We were, but watching him do that, watching him there fight that fight with jabs that are snapping that guy's head back like it was a Pez dispenser, shows that he's got a lot of more tools in the toolkit than just the body shot attack. That should scare everybody. You don't want to get hit with jabs like that, and try to defend against those. Meanwhile, thinking, next thing I know, he's going to hit me with a liver shot. You don't want any part of that.
Yeah, let's bring Francis and Joe and Antoine their final thoughts on this before we shut things down, because we're a little bit pressed for time here. Francis, Joe, and then Antoine.
What was the question?
We're just basically talking about this saga with Canelo and Khan, your thoughts on it, and you want to add on to this discussion, bringing in Triple G as well.
Yeah, well, you know what, I know that people don't like that it's not really at the middleweight division, and that Khan doesn't really deserve a shot at the middleweight title, but I like the fight. I think it's intriguing. I think it's going to be actually a competitive fight. I know Francis thinks Canelo's going to just roll over Khan, but I think it's interesting. I'm excited for it. I think it's good for boxing. I like the Mexico versus UK aspect of it, and I think, I think boxing needs fresh matchups, and I think this is a good one.
Yeah, it has all the makings of an intriguing fight. Stylistically, I think they're both very different. So it'll be interesting to see what Khan does to fight off Canelo. But eventually, I think Canelo and Triple G will face each other. I agree with Gail in that, you know, every match isn't going to be the highly anticipated, you know, top fight of the year. I think eventually we're going to get it, though. I think we're definitely going to get to see Canelo and Triple G, for sure.
Unmute your mic, X1. You're going to have the last word.
Well, I mean, when I first heard of it, I immediately thought trash fight. Me personally, I'm not excited at all. Maybe I need a little bit more time. I don't see how I don't see how Amir Khan comes out of this fight with nothing less than a serious concussion. Everybody, I hear what everybody's saying, talking about an intriguing matchup. But the problem is, we all know that Amir Khan is not disciplined enough to make this an intriguing matchup. This is not a question of if Khan, you know, if Canelo can catch Khan. It's a question of when, and we know it's gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? So, I understand the buzz, but we're getting hyped over something that we know that's gonna happen. We know that I know that Khan has no chance in this fight. He never really deserved to fight. But the thing about it is, with me, and honestly, I'll be rooting for Khan because this is just a straight duck move by Canelo, because not only is he ducking Triple G, but in the fact that he's ducking the entire 160-pound division for this fight. Out of all the people you can choose, I'm going to bring a welterweight up who was never ranked at 154, but he's going to fight. But I'm going to let him fight me for my middleweight crown. I don't understand it. So, you know, Canelo has everything to lose, but we all know that Canelo, if it goes to the scorecards, Canelo's going to win. I believe that it's firmly fixed in mind that Canelo will never lose another fight via decision again. Based on what happened with Laura, based on what happened with Floyd, based on what happened with Trout. He's not going to lose another fight by decision. So we can cancel that. So it's either going. So Canelo's going to win anyway. It really doesn't matter. That's why I don't understand what was the purpose for this fight. So.
And Antoine basically saying me right there, saying me right there. I think we're going to shut the show down on that note. I'm going to go around the table here and give everybody a chance to introduce or get basically big up what they do and endorse what they do. Starting ladies first here. Gail Falkenthal, Communities Digital News. I'm Unmute your mic, man. For folks who want to talk boxing or anything else, let the folks know where they can find you.
My column is Ringside Seat at Communities Digital News, a native online news site out of Washington, D.C. I'm based in Southern California, and that site is at COMM Digi, D-I-G-I News, comdiginews.com, and you'll see my stuff cross-posted all over the interwebs.
Francis and Joe from 4 Boxing News. For folks who want to talk boxing and let them know where they can find you, Francis.
Yeah, thanks for having us. You can check us out at 4boxingnews.com or at Twitter at 4boxingnews.
News to the show this evening. PSB joined us live from the UK. For folks who want to talk boxing or anything else, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
That's all the way from university, I say in the US, staying up late now, 4 a.m. in the UK, got lectures tomorrow.
Oh.
But yeah, you can check me out on YouTube. I've got my YouTube channel called PSB Sport, PS Sports. And you can find me on Twitter at Pavstar, PSB4R at Pavstar. PSB Sports, and follow me on Twitter regularly. Good doing you guys again, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll make sure to have you on again. Also, making his debut on the Pound for Pound Boxing Report this evening, Hakim Boxing. Unmute your mic, brother, for folks who want to talk boxing or anything else. Let the folks know where they can find you.
You can find me at Hakim's Boxing Channel on YouTube. You can also add me on Google Plus at my Hakim's Boxing, as you can just see right there in the video. And I'll ask you questions or anything about history, and we debate about it. Thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also making his debut, Antoine Carney. For folks who want to talk boxing or anything else, I'll meet you, my brother. Let the folks know where they can find you.
All right. Well, first of all, man, thank you for having me on the show. This was totally unexpected. But
glad to have you on.
Yeah. My YouTube is the same as my name, Antoine Carney. I'm on Google Plus. Hit me up, subscribe, and I'll be dropping videos, and you catch me in somebody's comment section ready for a debate. So.
Absolutely. I'm sure to have you on. Join us live from NY, Daniel Carpio. For folks who want to talk boxing or anything else, let the folks know where they can find you and talk about the Inscribe. Unmute your mic, brother.
All right, so you can find me on Twitter at Ruckus99. And like I said, I do write for the Inscriber digital magazine, started by my man Robert Cobb. And I'm going to give a shout out right now to Peter Soprano, who's also writing for the Inscriber. He actually has an interview right now with Deontay Wilder, where he details that he wants to go back, and he actually wants to fight 4 times this year. And also on Sundays, well, this Saturday, because I'm not going to be dumb enough to go against Super Bowl Sunday. Me, Joe, and Francis, we have our own podcast where we talk about the latest things that are happening in the boxing, and then the aftermath of potential matchups. It's going to be a little bit dry right now, but we're going to have some fun this week.
And lastly, Jacob Rivera, for folks who want to talk boxing or anything else, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
First of all, thanks for having me on the show, Michael.
Absolutely.
Last Sunday, that was a hell of a show. So I want to give you props. Everybody listened to that show. It was a really good show.
Okay, I think you did.
And then also jabhookboxing.com. That's my.
Okay. EJ Boxing Live. He's back. For folks who want to talk boxing or anything else, EJ, Game of Thrones, whatever. Let the folks know where they can find you. Basketball as well.
Yeah, man. Like I'd like to thank PS Sports coming over, Anthony Carney and Hakeem Boxing. I invited them over, to make the show more colorful. I felt like got some new added guests. Hopefully you'll come on next show. EJ Boxing Live on Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter, EJ Boxing Live, and on YouTube, EJ Boxing Live. Follow me there. Check out. I got an interview with Amir Mansour and. No one else he gave me exclusive straight after his fight, so you go check out that interview. And I got some other interviews coming up. There's some news coming up about Derek Chisora. I've got the inside information. I don't want to actually share it to you right now until it's official, but I should be interviewing his trainer sometime this week, and a real in-depth interview as well. So hope you guys will enjoy that. But yeah, Michael, thanks for having me over, man. Thanks for the panel, Gail, and the rest of the guys, man. Thanks.
Absolutely, no problem. Sean Newton was on the show earlier. He's all over. Love him or hate him. Just follow Sean Newton, S-H-A-W-N, Sean Newton, N-E-W-T-O-N. He's all over YTPC. Just check him out there. Also, Jay Dill, he was on the show earlier. You can follow him at Dilltown on YouTube and G+. He has an excellent page. Does a lot of recap and a lot of discussion about the old school fighters. You can find him on Twitter at J Dill Patriot. For me, y'all know what it is. If you want to find me on Twitter, Brother JR on Twitter at BrotherJR76. Once again, if you want to find out more about Pound for Pound Boxing Report, just go to the blog page, P4P Boxing, P4P Boxing Report.wordpress.com. If you look to the right of the blog page, you can find links to find us all over the internet, website, all over the social media, all over the internet, Facebook, G+, Twitter, YouTube, the Pinterest board, the link for the Pinterest board, the link for the RSS feed, the link to find us on Stitcher Radio, Flipboard, SoundCloud, iTunes, old episodes on Podomatic, as well as the email address p4pboxingrpt@gmail.com. Will we have a show next week? I don't know, because real talk, boxing is pretty shitty for the rest of the month until the end of the month, the 27th. And why they have to do this on Black History Month? I'm just saying, damn it.
No shit.
That ain't cool. That ain't cool.
Well, we can debate whether Cam Newton is the best athlete in the world after the Super Bowl.
All I know
He is the best athlete in the world.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna show this briefly. Y'all see the shirt. Y'all see the shirt. Y'all see the shirt. Y'all see the shirt. Y'all see the shirt.
Go Seahawks. Go Seahawks, man.
Y'all see the shirt. And
Legend of Boo.
And I will be.
Y'all gotta lose Marshawn Lynch, man. That's gonna be sad.
And I will be somewhere.
You know what?
I will
It's
be
fine.
somewhere on.
If he goes, we have Thomas Rules at running back.
And I will be somewhere. I will be somewhere on Sunday party, whatever, dabbing on fools. So I'm just saying, Panthers all day. But yeah, if you want to find information
for the camera, hit the dab for the camera. Hit the dab for the camera.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Do it. Come on.
I may.
Oh, come on.
may. But yeah, to find out information about Power Box Report, once again, just go to the blog page, P4P Boxing RPT, P4P Boxing Report.wordpress.com. Again, all the information is there, information, articles, and blog posts and whatnot by yours truly, as well as special contributors, Dale Falkenthaler and KBC Live, Kayla Lewis. So yeah, we may have a show. We may not have. Since y'all asked, yeah, dabbing on you mugs.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
See, that's why we're hanging on.
Episode 113 of the Power Boxing Report. For Gail, for Francis and Joe, for Boxing News, with Yellow Communities Digital News. For Daniel Carpio of the Inscriber, EJ Boxing Live, Antoine Carney, PSB Boxing, Kim Boxing, Sean Newton, Jay Dill. I'm your host, Michael. This has been episode 113. Y'all have a good evening. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.